Hey there, welcome back to the realm of history. Yes, indeed, 24 days until the AP exam. So we're getting really short on our time for preparation. One thing I will say is please check in the comments. Let me know that you are here. Having a little bit of internet struggles today, so hopefully you are seeing everything loud and clear. But let me know that you're here in the comments and we can kind of go from there. All right, so to get things started, we'll talk about what we're going to do tonight. It's pretty standard. We're going to have some key advice right off the bat. We'll go over some key terms. We've got about 10 to 12 items to go over with you. We have some AP advice. We're going to play the Realm Hunger Games. We'll announce who the participants are here shortly. And then, of course, do my best to answer all of your questions at the end of the session. Let's get into the key advice tonight. I really think that it's beneficial to write things down from this session. Make sure you read through your notes several times, your outlines, and you want to make sure you utilize your review sheet. Study off of that review sheet. See if you can answer or define all of the terms without looking at your actual answers on the review sheet. Pray for the right things. This is really important. Make sure that you understand that, yeah, this is an important quiz, but it's not more important than your health, not more important than your family. So pray for your family's health. Say the prayer of gratitude to the good Lord for all the blessings that have been bestowed upon you. And make sure that you ask the good Lord to guide you to use your talents to the fullest. That's all you can ever really do. Okay, next, I'd like to get into talking about being here now. This time of the year, whether it be in class, outside of class, at home, maybe on your athletic team, it's really evident that we have so many things going on and we really need to focus in. So tomorrow, when you come into the realm, I want you to take history and pop that in. I want you to be here now. When you leave the quiz, when you go to your next class, that you can pop in English or pop in math. But when you come into the realm tomorrow, please be focused. Please be ready to go. Let's not be disturbing others and making sure that we're getting the job done. Make sure you say thank you to your parents. Number 4, they do a lot for you. You are very blessed to be at St. Mary's. You're very blessed to be in the situation that you're in, thinking about all the people in the world and what they're going through right now. I just want you to make sure that you tell them thank you, tell them that you love them. Make sure you do that. If you have to do that right now, great time to do it. Okay. Finally, I want you to rise to the occasion. Remember, I try to challenge you, and tomorrow's quiz is going to be no different. The AP part, especially, is going to be a challenge. It's made to be a challenge on purpose. So, I think that that's how you get better. If you can give your best effort, not complain, but take on the challenge, rise to the occasion. I think that's going to make you a better person, a stronger person, get you ready for college level studies. That's really what we're looking to do here. Okay, those things being said, let's get into the key terms tonight. Want to remind you about some of the key things that we learned. We're learning about World War I. So there's a lot going on in the world during this time period. When you think about the alliance systems, remember that before the war, there was a series of alliances. Those altered slightly by the time the war began. So the first term is the Triple Alliance. This is Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. Remember that Italy's going to switch sides before the war begins. So keep that in mind. On the other side, you had the Triple Entente. Okay. The Triple Entente was actually, I didn't get to the slide yet. Give me 1 second. It's loading. Okay, I think I got it coming up here for you. Yes. Okay. The Triple Entente was Great Britain, France, and Russia. By the time the war began, though, what was once the Triple Alliance became known as the Central Powers because of their location in the heart or center of Europe. And that became Germany, Austria-Hungary, and they were supported by Bulgaria and the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire was in a steady state of decline, but they're still pretty strong in portions of World War I. On the other side became the Allies. You have Great Britain, you have France, you have Russia. They were supported by Japan, Serbia, and Italy. Eventually, the United States, as you learned in section 3 and 4, does get involved on the Allied side. One of the big events that led to World War I was the annexation of Bosnia-Herzegovina. This is actually referring to the takeover of these regions by Austria-Hungary in an effort to expand their Slavic lands. This movement, this action really made Serbia angry and ultimately led to a pre-war standoff between these two entities. Next is something called the Alsace and Lorraine territory. These were lands that were lost by France during what was called the Franco-Prussian War. This is one big reason why the Prime Minister Otto von Bismarck believed that France was a real threat to retake that territory. See, the territory Alsace and Lorraine was very rich in manufacturing centers, a lot of factories, a lot of raw materials were located there as well. So the fact that Prussia took it over and then that became controlled by Germany when Germany unified, that was one reason why Otto von Bismarck wanted to limit the power of France. And so that's why he made up the Triple Alliance, trying to gather the countries onto his side before the French could. Eventually, Russia and France got into an alliance. And so this was Germany's solution to fight the war on two fronts. It's called the Schlieffen Plan. It's named after a famous German general named Alfred Graf von Schlieffen. Basically, what they wanted to do is they wanted to attack France first, defeat them quickly, and then head back to the east to face Russia. Okay, on to some key figures here. First off, I want figures that, there we go. Otto von Bismarck, German prime minister who created the Triple Alliance, as I said earlier, and wanted to limit French power. He was eventually forced to resign by Kaiser Wilhelm II. Kaiser Wilhelm didn't really want to share power with anybody any longer. He wanted to run his own show. And so he was kind of jealous that Otto von Bismarck was such a big figure in Germany. And so he kind of forced him to resign. Next, we have Woodrow Wilson. Wilson was the United States president and represented the United States at the Paris Peace Conference. He had what was called his 14 points, which he believed would piece Europe back together. And he also proposed something called the League of Nations, which the United States never really joined. Another key representative at the Paris Peace Conference was George Clemenceau. He was the representative from France. David Lloyd George was the representative at the Paris Peace Conference for England. And Vittorio Orlando was the representative from Italy. That's all you really need to know about those characters there. All right, a bit of AP advice. So in looking at the AP portion of the quiz tomorrow, one big issue for the SAQ is going to be propaganda, knowing how propaganda and forms of media, what type of forms of media were available during World War I. Radio was there. So was newspapers, right? So those are some big things that you want to take into account as far as propaganda, media, and how it affected the war. I think a big issue in World War I was technology of war. New inventions like the tank, the submarine, planes that were used to drop bombs or fight in the air. Those are all poison gas and the machine gun. These are all new inventions of warfare that I think will help you in understanding how to answer some questions on the AP part. Then, of course, knowing about the Paris Peace Conference and the Treaty of Versailles and how it kind of blamed everything on Germany and forced Germany to pay huge war reparations, which are debts that were owed to the Allied powers like Great Britain, France, and even the United States. So that money that was forced to be paid was significant. Germany couldn't pay it. It caused their economy to crash. They went into a supra state of inflation in which it cost like 4 billion marks for one loaf of bread. I mean, it was outrageous. People were showing up to grocery stores with 4 or 5 wheelbarrows full of cash, full of German marks that were pretty much worthless. So those are some of the things that you really need to think about is how did the Paris Peace Conference, how did the Treaty of Versailles lead into the eventual World War II? Other than that, when you're reading your AMSCO, like I've said earlier, for the comprehension questions, I think it's important to think about what are those key terms, those bolded terms, and also what are those essential questions at the start of each section. Those are really important parts of what you need to know. Okay, we made it into the Realm Hunger Games. So this should be pretty interesting. Remember, I'm going to be working the chat. The first player that represents their class, his or her class, to answer the question correctly in my version of the chat will receive the point. So here are the participants today. If they're not here, sorry, folks. These are the folks that you picked during Friday's teams meeting. Second hour is going to be represented by Salek and Duke. Pretty good partnership there. Third hour's got Brown and Bahu. Ooh, pretty strong there. Fifth hour's got E. Marsh and Walsh. Okay, half and half. We got sixth hour. We got Carly Stevens and Sadie Ross, ballers. Seventh hour, we got Olivia Russ representing Novi and Gia T. And then eighth hour, we've got Big John and Cam Holbert, who both were not even in the teams meeting Friday. So looking a little bit questionable there with the picks. But hey, all of these ballers can ball, and they all know how to answer questions. So we'll see what happens here in the Realm Hunger Games. Okay, I'm going to read the questions and get ready. I'm going to monitor the chat here momentarily. Let me get ready. Okay. All right. Gia has been, well, looks like Gia can actually answer questions. So she's on the chat there. Okay, first question is going to be, pay attention, only people who are involved in the game should answer. What future prime minister led the Gallipoli campaign? Name that future prime minister. Just waiting to see a response. I don't see anything just yet. Oh boy, nobody's got it yet. We're going to leave it going. Nobody's gotten it. Nope. Keep guessing. Oh my goodness. Nobody can get this one. This is a tough question. I made the questions tough. Oh, Duke with the answer representing second class Woodrow. No, that's not right. I'm sorry. That's not right. Churchill, Gia got it. Winston Churchill is the answer. Gia T puts seventh hour on the board with the correct answer. Well done, Gia. It took a long time. Probably got on the Google to get that one. You could have done that. Okay, let's see. Question number 2. Okay, Gia did eat on that one, Olivia. I agree. Okay, question number 2 is, these are all tough questions now. What term is used when a country devotes all of its resources toward the war effort? Gia says her phone doesn't have Google. She could be grounded from her phone. Oh, wait a second. Luke S. came in clutch there right away with the NASA speed internet. Total War. That's the correct answer. Point number 2 goes to second hour. So right now we're tied 1-1, second hour and seventh hour. Here we go. Unfortunately, sorry, Olivia, on my end, it's showing Master Luke. Yes, Luke S. Then E. Marsh, then you. Sorry, on my end. Okay, third and final question. Let's see who can get this one. I think this one's a tough one as well. Please pay attention. Bloody Sunday, the Revolution of 1905, the Russo-Japanese War, and World War I all led to what major event in Russian history? No dice yet, folks. No dice yet. It's got to be specific. It's got to be specific. John Brown, hold on. John Brown has the correct answer by name. But Luke S. has the Russian Revolution of 1917. That's going to go game, set, and match to second hour. Game, set, match to second hour. Yes, indeed. Okay. I do want to give credit to John Brown, though, because he did name it correctly. But there's multiple answers. As long as you have Russian Revolution of 1917 or Bolshevik or Communist Revolution, that is the correct answer. So second hour, once again, will receive the +1. Sorry, folks, in the other hours. Just a tough combination there. Luke and Duke. Luke and Duke. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was pretty fun. Okay. Back to the question and answer time now. So we've got a good session of question and answer. Feel free to ask any questions that you would like to have answered at this time, and we can go ahead and do that. Interesting. Yes, Gia, you were sauteing shrimp on that first one. No joke. All right, we got a real question here. Can you define the first Battle of the Marne? Sure. First Battle of the Marne was the first big battle of World War I. It happened on the Western Front. It was during the Schlieffen Plan. The Germans were pushing the French back toward Paris, and there's a river there called the Marne River, okay? The British came to support the French because they're allies, and the Allies win at the First Battle of the Marne. This is so important because it pretty much meant that the Schlieffen Plan was null and void, because the Schlieffen Plan hinged on the fact that the Germans had to defeat France quickly. And if they lose the first major battle, that just couldn't happen. So the First Battle of the Marne was important for those reasons. Okay, Master John says, what was the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk? Russia withdraws from the war early because of the Bolshevik Revolution, as you so brilliantly stated. But the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk basically meant that Germany and Russia would no longer fight against each other. Germany was like, all right, so you're dropping out, but do we really know that you're dropping out? So they wanted to get it on paper, and they basically agreed that they would no longer fight each other. This really helped out Germany because it meant that they didn't have to focus on the Eastern Front anymore. They could focus all of their efforts on the Western Front. Guma Guy says, do we need to fill out what we didn't know from the handout? Yeah, I mean, I'm going to grade that. I'm going to see it. I really would appreciate that if you did that, because if you don't, then there might be something that comes on the quiz that, you didn't put the effort into. So I would do my due diligence and make sure you have that. Yeah. Guma and Gia, yes, good work there. Good collaboration, as you guys might say. Okay. Any other real questions, ladies and gents? I am willing to stay on to answer all of your questions tonight. Get you ready for World War II, World War I quiz. All right, here goes Olivia. So what do we need to know about imperialism? Well, imperialism was a really important catalyst into World War I. So first of all, you need to know what is imperialism. And then, of course, with that being said, you need to also be able to talk about how imperialism impacted World War I. So the fact that countries were fighting, with each other over things such as land, resources in Africa, land and resources in Asia, land and resources elsewhere. Eventually, some of those competitions spilled over into causing World War I. Yes, there may be one or two questions from that chapter 28 handout. Yes. There's definitely AP. Already announced this in class. Told you to write this down on Friday session as well. Yes, I told you to read that packet, and there may be one or two questions there. Paris Peace Conference was put together to basically piece Europe back together after all the fighting in World War I. How should we go forward? Who should be penalized? Who should be not penalized? What should be the new boundary lines of different countries? So those are things that you really want to know about the Paris Peace Conference. How many comprehension questions will there be for the AP portion? I'm looking at 3 to 4, 3 to 5, 3 to 5, 3 to 5, Master E. Marsh. What was the Gallipoli campaign? All right, so the Gallipoli campaign was an effort by the Allies to create a supply line to Russia, okay? Remember that Russia was having a lot of trouble, and the Allies were also having trouble trying to get them supplies due to German submarines and just the territory. So they tried to go through Turkey, where modern day Constantinople is. There's a strait there called the Strait of the Dardanelles. The Allies were trying to take that over by defeating the Ottomans and Bulgaria at the same time, but they lost in the battle, so they weren't able to do that. And that's one of the reasons Russia had to withdraw. Morgan says, how many questions on the content? 33 to be exact. On Friday, I went over this. There's going to be multiple choice, there's going to be matching, and there's going to be short answer. For the content short answers, will it only be the ones on the review sheet? Well, those are clues. All right. Those are clues. But could be others. Could be anything from the review sheet. Could be anything from the reading. I usually try to stick to what's on the review sheet on the short answer. I don't really like to trick you guys too much, if you know what I'm saying. So it'll definitely be something from either those clues there, or could also be from anything else on the review sheet. Well, chapter 28, maybe I said one or two questions from that reading. Pretty short reading. If you haven't read it, I would suggest reading it tonight. Could be in form of multiple choice, matching. Okay. Other questions, folks? Good chance to get your questions answered here now. Anything at all? Okay, I am not seeing any action on my end, question-wise, so I think it'd be safe to maybe say, have a great night. We were on for about 25 minutes. That's a pretty decent session. Still low numbers, but if you have any other questions, you can always email me. Nonetheless, I want to wish you good luck on the quiz tomorrow and have a wonderful night. I appreciate all of you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Come with a good attitude. Make sure that you say your prayers, and be here now to be ready to meet the challenge tomorrow in class. Oh, we got one final question that just rolled in. Are the AP comprehensions short answer or multiple choice? This week I said they're going to be multiple choice or true and false. Yes. All right. Take it easy, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Thanks again.